Okay, also, I'm going to try to detach my mind from the fact that I can hear your HVAC unit piercing through. I have got everything here, everything shut off here. I have silence in this room. There's no hissing in this room whatsoever.
Okay, but we need my computer.
Okay, but then what we're going to do is next time we get a computer is we're not going to get the one that has to do with big clunky black thing that takes 18 minutes to start up that hisses.
It
Those are
doesn't take
terrible.
18
That's
minutes
why
to start
people
up.
who
It
do
doesn't.
creative things don't use Windows things. We ever, 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 and then ever. So
Okay,
we're,
well, people who do like math things and spreadsheet things and office things do use Windows computers. So I'm just letting you know.
okay.
People
Well,
who
I'm
have to
willing to
get
have it.
things done.
You know what?
I'm sorry,
No,
Mr. Creative Artist
okay,
over there.
and when we start selling spreadsheets for subscriptions to people, and I'll remember them.
Well, I do for my day job. I'm just
But you know
letting you
what? You're
know.
lucky, Alice, because you have cover. You have cover right now because
What's my cover?
your cover is the following. Are you ready?
Okay.
I was just downstairs after I checked in, having 3 minutes until we were starting. I was downstairs getting water for my meal, which is essentially chicken soup, which is essentially broth. Um,
Okay.
so I went down into the lobby, got the water. You know, it's a cute lobby here, and nice old shiny wood floors, and it's
Mm-hmm.
nicely a big Christmas tree. And in the little food area, like where they have hot water and cold water, and a couple of other things, there's
Mm-hmm.
also a microwave. And there's a guy using the microwave. He's got two boxes of stuff like rolling in the microwave. He's got shorts. He's got a shirt that seems like kind of like a sleeves cut off
Mm-hmm.
shirt, and he was barefoot totally. And
In the hotel lobby?
oh yeah, yeah, and it was
That's so
yes.
gross.
And I thought to myself, in the real world, if I could have my way, obviously I would just have shot him in the head, and he would have deserved it, obviously. And he just and then the idea is that when his next of kin comes to him, I say, I just want you to know that that's him right there. You can clean him up,
Mm-hmm.
take him out of here, and notice that he doesn't have shoes on. If he just wasn't such a selfish, total pig of a prick, then he'd be alive right now. So spread the word to the rest of your progeny that maybe they shouldn't be freaking animals. It's so disgusting, and I hear people who fly planes saying that people are really like taking their shoes and socks off on the plane. Like you're like, what is this? Like, oh, I'm at my mommy's house and I'm 11 years old. And I'm gonna get as comfortable as I can and take my shoes, my sockies off, and then play with my feet or rub my feet. Oh, the travel. It's okay. I have an excuse. I'm doing traveling, so I get to do this. It's okay. This is my little. This is my little. 11-year-old bedroom for today, even though it's seat E6 or whatever it is. The same thing with the lobby. You're a grown man. No, I like to feel the comfort of the rug between my toesies, and I like to be totally comfortable. And this is kind of all my big bedroom for the night. It's ridiculous. I'm disgusted by people who do that. I'm disgusted by people who do that. I think that they should all come to violent ends. I'm sorry about that. I do. And I don't even get like when suddenly it was everything that everybody wore hats inside restaurants. I don't really know the reason why we weren't supposed to, but I knew that it was just this little minor test to make sure that you were better than a chimpanzee in the restaurant.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I saw somebody tweeting recently about how like it's now a coastal elite thing to take off your shoes when you go to somebody's home.
Yeah, but not socks.
Well, yeah, not socks, but
This
although I
guy
mean,
had this guy had
there
bare
there
feet.
are times of year when if you take off your shoes, you're going to be in your socks for a lot of people.
What?
I mean, like if it's sandal or flip flop weather or something.
Then you're gonna be in your bare feet.
Right, right. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but that you won't have socks on at certain times of year, right? So, I mean, I do think it's interesting because in some parts of the world that has been the standard for a while that you take off your shoes when you enter somebody else's home and you don't track all your outside stuff all over the ground.
And I understand that. But that's not
Um,
what we're doing here. This is
right.
people indulging themselves, acting as if they're absolutely in their own bedroom. They consider this my own bedroom. I can do whatever I want. I don't need to present any kind of decorum here, even though this is a nice place here. This is
Mhm.
not. the water park area sections of Canopy Lake Park. This is a nice area where the surroundings, at least in this lobby, kind of demand that you at least dress half civilly. That's it. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I believe shoes are required in most places.
Yeah, certainly any places where there's the food service. There's and I don't know that there is there, but upstairs there's a restaurant. He's in an area where people are preparing food. It's not really considered sanitary to be barefoot in areas where people are making food. It's kind of gross. That's the restaurant industry standard is the no shirt, no shoes, no service. So I don't know why it would be
It's
different when
disgusting.
you're making
This is
food.
my bedroom thing. We used to have when I worked at hotels at front desk, we used to have people. Most of them were tourists from somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
but they would check in while faces stuffed with food. And like I couldn't believe it. I wasn't this. I mostly witnessed this when I was a bellman. So I was like next to the front desk person. I would always give him a look like, hey, "Congratulations, you're dealing with this a hole who's eating." But now, like, why would you not? Why would you not just for a moment? Why would you not like take your hat off in a restaurant? Why wouldn't you? I want to hear from
Right.
you guys, by the way. Like, why? Why wouldn't you? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know a friend of mine who was a radio producer for a while. He disagreed, and he also was a guy who always wore his hat, always, and you would never know until he had it off that he was bald.
Right.
And maybe that's it, but
That it's an insecurity thing for bald guys.
maybe I guess so.
I think they feel younger when they're wearing like a baseball cap versus when they take it off.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
But I mean, I don't understand. I don't think you should be wearing a baseball cap in the middle of the restaurant either.
no, yeah, and I'm trying to think of some of the other things that like the absolute rudeness that happens. First of all, most of my regrets happen in cars when like somebody does something. For instance, today I hit the stop sign. She hit the stop sign after me, and then she turned before me. It's my turn to go,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just waiting. If she just gave me a wave or something, that's something I would thought. Okay, she's communicating. She gave me nothing. Just went. She broke the rules. Just made a left when it was my turn to go. I could have been going and not looked. Whatever. She couldn't give a bleep and nothing. So I hope that she perished tonight, obviously, and I hope that like anybody like that, they just people are terrible. Oh God! And there's you know what? Since I'm opening this door, here's another one. This is
Mm-hmm.
from working in hotels too. And I used to always have to go up to the rooms for something else, a concierge or whatever. So I would go over. This is the Parker House. So we had 3 or 4 elevators there,
Right.
and I'd go and I'd hit floor 7, whatever. I was in the lobby, and undoubtedly somebody from across the lobby would say, "Oh wait," and run to get in the elevator car with me as if it's the last one. They're constantly going. The place is only 14 floors high. They're coming back and forth constantly. Oh wait. This urge, and I think maybe they think they're being cute. I don't know what it was, but I mean, I can't. I've done way too much wishing for death already. Yeah. And you know what? We had a friend of ours' wife used to make us all take our shoes off at their house,
Yeah.
and they're divorced now, and I'm happy. How else are you doing? Actually,
That's a
believe it or
big
not,
statement. Mm-hmm.
but even
Believe it or not.
I'm actually I'm not in a bad mood. Almost everything is
Really.
swimmingly
Really.
today.
People in the chat think you might need a hug.
I don't think I do. Actually, it was a kind of a delightful ride down. I had listened to a bunch of podcasts. An interesting thing, one of the podcasts I listened to was obviously the Commentary Magazine podcast. And they said maybe it was Abe or maybe it was the guy. They had Jim Meigs in there. And they said one of the things that Jim Meigs, he wrote a big commentary article about this.
Mm-hmm.
And he said one of the things that like is essentially depressing about all the Twitter files that we're finding
Yeah.
is that the left in defending the fact that they like didn't look into the Hunter Biden thing, or didn't look or wanted to shut down debate about the origins of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to him as a journalist, that was disappointing because it means that because of tribalism, they didn't have fire in the belly. They, as a journalist, you should first and foremost.
Right.
If you hear that the son of the vice president of the former vice president of the U.S. United States, and Democratic nominee, has been found present in a laptop containing pictures of him doing drugs with naked women after he's done transactions and been on Air Force
If it
Two.
were literally anyone
Well,
else
right.
on the planet, it would have been a
Of
huge
course,
story.
he's been doing drugs, and he's been on Air Force Two with his dad, visiting people, doing business
Right.
visits. Well, then to any real reporter, that is a dream. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a liberal. You know, that would be a dream. That's
Mm-hmm.
perfect. That's like I don't know who the reporters were when they took down Gary Hart, but I mean that's too good. You have him saying you're not going to catch me having sex with anybody, and then you track him out to a yacht where he's shacking up with a woman who's not his wife. Any reporter should be very interested in that kind of stuff. I mean, it's all newsy, and so his feeling it was Jim Mays was essentially, since it's just too bad because tribalism now has made people not interested in looking for the truth where they should
Right.
be journalism.
Right. And then people who, like, for example, Matt Taibbi or Barry Weiss, who are getting these drops from the quote unquote Twitter files, they're being cast in serious publications. Like, I think was it the New York Times who said that they were conservative journalists or something
Washington
when they're,
Post, I think, yes.
it was the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Like, they're both liberals. That's what they are. So the idea then that they get slammed. Anybody who's curious about the truth about a Democrat politician is now, by extension, must be a conservative journalist.
Right.
I guess is how this goes.
Well, but isn't that interesting? Isn't that very telling that the
Of
Washington
course.
Post got through all the editors, looks at them and they say, "Oh yeah, they're liberal. They're conservatives."
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting? So that means that anybody who's not purely in hyperactive activism mode is absolutely and is not completely it is not uneasy with free speech, must be a conservative. Or you know what else it means, Allison? This is probably the thing here.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they've sat with Joe Rogan for hours,
Right.
and that's the
Right.
problem.
Although so have some of the Twitter safety people, right? And so that's what's interesting is that, these Twitter people, it's fascinating what's happening with the Twitter files, and I'm less interested by the content of the files because it's what we thought, and it's nice to have confirmation and all that.
Yeah.
They didn't really have a reason to ban Trump. They were censoring conservatives. They didn't, et cetera, right? They were getting informed by the FBI not to circulate the Hunter Biden thing, all of the above. All this stuff is what we thought. Shadow banning existed, etc. But I'm almost more interested in people's reactions to it because it's so interesting to see the media go like, oh, well, Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi are just conservatives. And are you like, are you sure? Because he was like a pro-Occupy Wall Street guy. It seems odd that all of a sudden he's a conservative. But so there's that. And then there's these like weird attacks on Elon Musk. Like, they really hate that he's exposing stuff, and they're going after him in so many different ways. Not just, they're sending the building inspectors after him because he's letting employees sleep at the office. They're sending whoever after him. They're looking for any and every reason. They're going after his advertisers. They're trying to get employees to leak confidential information from the company. So that's another interesting one because Elon Musk was complaining that there are so many leaks from the company and saying that they're going to be attempting to enforce all their NDAs, which is hard to do as a company. But, everyone was acting like Elon Musk saying he was going to enforce NDAs was some sort of like evil thing that he was doing. Can you believe he's going after employees who are speaking out? Like, no, he's just, like, they literally have NDAs. He's just trying to keep the inside baseball from the company out of the media. But that's what's happening. And he's, experimenting, trying different stuff with Twitter. He might up the character limit. Now all companies have a yellow verified badge instead of not. Tom Shattuck has a verified badge with an asterisk on it now.
Is that true?
No, it's not really an asterisk, but it does say if you click on it that it's a legacy verified badge and you may or may not be notable.
I'm notable. Plenty notable.
May or may not be notable.
So,
not sure. Not sure about that, but he's doing all this stuff. But they're so mad about it. And they're mad because it makes them look bad. So rightfully so, there's some concern that in some of the Twitter files stuff, you don't want to release any personally identifying information from the employees at the company because that's just a bad look. And they are heavily redacted. A lot of like the Slack logs and whatever have people's names blocked out. They were all gleeful when they suspended Trump. They were like, we're a part of history. Isn't it so amazing? They were all proud of themselves. But then like they're conflating that with stuff like this guy, Yoel Roth, or that woman whose name I forget, who was also like big in the getting rid of Trump story too, right? And these are public figures. You know what I mean? They go on like big talk shows and stuff and talk to the media, and they're verified, right? They're famous people at this point. So the idea that we can't publish their names or talk about decisions they made or things they did is just them having a double standard and protecting themselves when they go after conservatives in a much worse way. For example, now we're hearing that Yoel Roth and his boyfriend had to leave their home due to threats due to the Twitter files release.
Yeah.
Twitter's former head of trust and safety has fled his home due to an escalation in threats resulting from Elon Musk's campaign of criticism against him, a person familiar with the matter told CNN Monday. Yoel Roth, who resigned from the social media company in November, had in recent weeks faced a storm of attacks and threats following the release of the so-called Twitter files. Now, are the attacks on Yoel Roth based primarily on stuff that was in the Twitter files, or are they based primarily on stuff Yoel Roth tweeted and wrote throughout his career?
Yeah, well, I would say the egregious ones are his enjoyment of some rather blue and alternative activity.
Yeah, and humor. And, he wrote a big article about how he thinks, young people should be allowed on Grindr because they're there anyway. So if you're following a harm reduction approach, it's better to have like an approach to deal with young people on Grindr than to just ignore the fact that there's people under 18 using it, or as he wrote in his thesis, even worse, try and keep them off the platform altogether because it's such an important space for queer youth. And everybody's acting like this is some like attack on him or gross misrepresentation of what he said or something. But that's the thing that people have a problem with. And it's funny because it's the same as the Libs of TikTok thing. It's like they put this stuff out there for publication, or they put themselves out there on TV and say stuff, or they tweet stuff out to the world, and then they get upset when other people point it out.
Well, yeah, no, exactly.
This is an attack on me. I can't believe you're telling people what I said. Like, no, you said it. Like, that's your words. Like, do you disagree with it now? What's the problem? And even like your buddy Jesse Singal that you like has been saying that people are misrepresenting his words on stuff, and that it's irresponsible of Musk to tweet it out because he has so many followers. It's mean to Yoel Roth. Like, the guy's a public figure. He wrote this stuff. If he has a problem, he can come out there and say something about it. But the truth is, he was saying that, young people under 18 should be on Grindr, which is a gay hookup app. I mean, that's what he said. So to pretend that that's not what he said, or that somehow misrepresents the truth of what he said or something like that, it's dishonest. And, like, if he's so proud of it, he should stand by it. I don't know. That's the way people are. But, you can go through and find a million tweets from him that are completely inappropriate.
But this is exactly the taking the soccer fall thing.
Right.
You do the offensive thing, somebody else picks up on it, suddenly you're being attacked. Even though somebody usually is just criticizing what you've said, which is actually more offensive than any of the criticisms. This is the same thing that happened in Dead of Mass with the Christmas tree. It happens everywhere. They do something offensive and cruel. You identify it. They accuse you of being offensive and cruel.
Right.
That's all they know, and they're suddenly the victim. They go right. They toggle right from that to victim. But what I want to get back to something I was saying because I didn't quite finish.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that because journalism is dead, because journalists just want to just fight on behalf of their team.
Right.
And I think that is certainly something that's like 40 and under. That's definitely a younger person thing. And I've seen that in newsrooms where they're all in and they think they're just doing the right thing. They don't know a lot of time that they're being partisan. They just think they're on the right side of history. So they're doing this stuff like a bunch of the Twitter people. But they're not on, it's not that they're on the right side of history. They don't understand that their job is not to be in the right side of history. Their job simply is to report. Now, somewhere along the lines, they watched too many West Wing stories, or I don't know, watched All the President's Men, and then decided that they were much more important than just somebody who needs to report, because that's hard work, etc. That they have to help change the world, and all they were doing, and so they can do it from home, and they can get Twitter clout for their good job, and there's the pat in the head instead of the city desk, or sort of instead of the the editor coming over and say, "Attaboy," you're getting the attaboys through plaudits from on social media, and that's easy to do, and so it creates laziness. But my question for you is this: if it's a bad thing that people are being activists and thus doing journalism, really doing PR and damage control and acting as the Iron Dome defense system, isn't the flip side of that that people will be more voracious journalists when scrutinizing their opponents?
I mean, always, but I think antagonistic journalism is the best journalism. I mean, I happen to think oppo research is like a useful field of journalism because you want people who are going after you know, you either want people that legitimately don't have a team, but in terms of people who are like politics and Washington D.C. junkies, that's harder to find, but you want people who really are from both teams and who are going to go after both sides, you know, and that's how the press was really conceived in the earliest times in our country, which is, you know, when the First Amendment was written, is, you know, like Thomas Jefferson had a newspaper that was friendly to him, and John Adams had one that was friendly to him, and they would like relentlessly attack one another. There was no sense that like there should be some, you know, unbiased, neutral press that was just giving the facts. That was not something that there was. I think, you know, as long as people are clear about where they stand on things and what their opinions are, I don't think there's any problem with having media that's biased, right?
Right.
And as long as you have space for both voices, as long as one side is like allowed to talk and it's not considered hate speech whenever they open their mouths, and they'll get doxxed and their families ruined just for saying it, right?
Well, but also, go ahead.
No, but that's all I was going to say is, it's, you know, as long as you have a Fox News, it's fine to have an MSNBC, and in a way they're both more useful than CNN, which is purporting to be neutral but really isn't at all.
Yeah, but isn't this showing, aren't we watching the formation of another column of news person? So isn't this, who's the kid from the fact check kid from MSNBC?
Daniel Dale?
Oh no, Ben Collins. Is it Ben Collins?
Ben Collins, is he a fact checker or is he just a MSNBC reporter? NBC
I think he's in charge
something?
of both. He does both, but he's a bitch anyway. But anyway, so you've got him, and he's not going to report on all the fact check problems or all the stuff. He's not going to report badly about Biden, etc. He's not going to report about Bo. He's not interested. He's not going to. He's only going to go after Republicans. He's not going to get out there and be a reporter. He's just going to go out there and essentially just scrutinize the Republicans and cherry pick this story or that story about how unfactual this Republican was about this and this Republican was about this, and attribute lies to Republicans and Trump people, et cetera, et cetera.
But that's why you have to have.
He's going to do that from his.
Okay.
He's going to do that from his computer. Well, at the same time, you've got hordes of other people who actually, many of whom don't even call themselves journalists, who are also at their computers. And these people are more tenacious and more hungry than he is. So he gets to go into the MSNBC set with the bright lights there, the special pass, and gets to eat at the 30 Rock cafeteria. That's fine. He gets all that. But at the end of the day, his work product is not as good as their work product. The stuff
Right.
that Stephen Miller goes and finds is more powerful than almost anything Ben Collins ever finds.
Of
Or the,
course.
right. So I mean, I think that the that we don't know it, but journalists who went to school for journalism and have
Mm-hmm.
Columbia, they are being overwritten by the people who are actually delivering news, because journalist doesn't mean journalists anymore. It just means
Right.
activists who's, when front facing is lecturing people and telling you about which candidates are lying, which of course, if you're saying somebody's lying, then you're saying that you know their motivation, which is not something you
Mm-hmm.
could know unless you're in their head. Um, Meanwhile, when they're rear facing, when they're insular, they're looking inside the company, demanding that the editors not have conservative voices there, demanding that Barry Weiss get kicked out, demanding that Tom Cotton's op-ed not run. Those
Right.
people are a net minus. They're a drag on these institutions. But you've got the hungry go-getters, like I guess we would have called them 20 years ago, the old PJ media, the people who
Yep.
who, who found out the fake crap on that Dan Rather did on George W. Bush in his
Mm-hmm.
National Guard days. I mean, that is those people, and then there's some people who are in between, like Tim Pool,
Right.
what's his name, Andy, no, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you got other people like that, and those people really are the real journalists, but they're not necessarily affiliated with old traditional media names. Those people are hustlers. They're going out and doing it, and I just think that
Right.
that I mean, that is the optimistic thing. And I think you mix that with the idea that Elon Musk just showed that you can have a huge worldwide platform, which in our circles is omnipresent. Not everywhere it's omnipresent, but in our circles it's omnipresent. It's a media, newsy, junky thing to do. And you can go in there with all these great minds out of Stanford and MIT, et cetera, and Caltech, et cetera,
Yeah.
and you can fire 70% of your staff and there's no ripple effect. I think that is very good news. You mix that with the fact that you have a bunch of deadbeat millennial 31-year-olds, kind of people who go to the lobby with bare feet because they think it's their bedroom, who are, writing little bitch fest articles on how Trump aides lie, lie, it's a lie, it's a lie, which is not a news word. I just think that the fact that somebody's going to look around and say, we can let them all go. Like if,
Mm-hmm.
and you're seeing that, I think, around, what is it exactly are you doing?
Me?
Yes, I know you're giving me a yeah and a huh every few seconds just to.
I'm looking. Did you see, by the way, that Dan Marassi, candidate for state senate and Minifam, was randomly selected out of everybody to have his election accounts audited?
No, I didn't see that. That's interesting.
Interesting coincidence, huh? Yeah, he was just posting about it. I noticed that, so I was curious about it. But it's interesting. I mean, because I do think liberals go after people that they don't like. Don't you? Was it Howie Carr who would say he got audited like every year?
Yeah, that was like Dukakis was going after him for years.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, I think that stuff really does happen.
of
I
course.
mean, obviously with Obama's IRS, we know for a fact it happened. Like, that was the scandal-free presidency. Julie and Phil in the chat say that Turtle Boy is the closest thing we have to real journalism in New England. I think that's true. I think it's true. I think he's a fantastic journalist. Because he really finds real stuff. And like, we used to talk about that at the Herald, because at the time that you were at the Herald, they were still doing lots of like real stories where people would go through different state financial reports and stuff and actually find things to report on and say stuff. And Turtle Boy's like that. Like, he'll go through stuff and find things that's not out there that no one else has reported on yet. He's not just cruising social media looking for a story that everyone else has and then writing it up also and blogging about it, and
No, he's a great mix because he is going through social media and he's getting handoffs left and right from people, but
of
he's also
course.
going to courthouses and police stations. He's also out there hitting the streets. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the ultimate one man band, and that's good. He had to learn to do it. I don't think he's not even he's not even a trained reporter. He's just learned
Mm-hmm.
organically how to
But
go find stuff out and how to get people to drop him info in the
to
cop.
go back to this point, though, too, is he makes no show of being like neutral or something.
No, although he
You know,
also
there's
doesn't.
not a lot of use of allegedly in his articles and like, trying to.
He does not go by the AP style book. No,
Right.
no.
So
Ratchet is not in the style book. Yeah.
So
What is it? Groin fruit or whatever that he used?
crotch goblins. Yeah. No, it's not. So, but he makes no pretense at being anything that he isn't. Do you know what I mean? Morgan says he also cheats on his wife. I mean, ex-wife. Yeah.
I don't care.
I mean, Tom and I have been through this. We've covered Turtle Boy
Morgan,
during the Jerry stuff. We're not like
Morgan. He's from Western, okay. What do you want?
that. I'm not, when I say I think Turtle Boy's a great journalist, I'm not necessarily endorsing every action in his personal life as moral. I voted for Trump twice, and I don't endorse every action in Trump's personal life as moral either. You take people as they come, but he is a great journalist, and he's far, far better than any of the people doing it in Massachusetts right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing is that I think that the inception of his site, he decided to be himself. And so it's to his detriment in the sense that it gives mainstream outfits a reason to ignore him, and actually makes them feel better about stealing his stuff without attribution.
Right. And it gives them a reason. But how much money have all those outlets made off of stories that came from his reporting? Believe me,
the crap I went through recently at a newspaper when I was trying to
credit
Turtle Boy stories and credit him, man, in the internal fights I got in, it was incredible. Like that.
But he's been through like not just
that guy was doing what their reporters should have been doing, but they weren't, and he beat
right. So that's the thing, and it's like, of course. He's not a perfect person by any standard, but
I don't know what kind of person he is. I don't care.
I mean, but that's the thing, and they go after him, and they use this as an excuse to go after him. This stuff that, like, shady stuff in his personal life or whatever. But like, he can't use a lot of payment processors. Like, his site gets destroyed. I mean, like, he gets taken to court constantly. Like, real stuff, right? Like, not just reporters not crediting him, which is real because it impacts his income, but like stuff like where his income literally gets cut off because payment processors won't have him, or he has to spend years of his life in courthouses and whatever, the things that get dismissed. So, I mean, like, the left will really go after you with real stuff if they possibly can. And, everybody has stuff in their life that can get used against them. Just like they're going to go after Elon Musk because he has employees sleeping in the office. Like, they'll take whatever they can get. If you're a person who really, and it doesn't matter, Elon Musk isn't a conservative either. Turtle Boy's not really a conservative either. I mean, he is what he is, and it's sometimes he leans conservative, but I would not call him a conservative. And it's just being an iconoclast and being willing to blow up anybody no matter what, and say what you think is true no matter what, and not toe the line when all the institutions, like the cathedral, all lines up against you and tisks at you and says, like, don't say that, or don't go after this person, or don't talk that way, or whatever. And not caring about that is completely dangerous to them, which is why they go after people like that with everything they have, even though they're, like, not conservative. It's not even ideological. It's just being a person who's willing to not listen to them, right? That's all it is.
Well, that's completely, of course, what it is. And, that is all we have at this point. That is all we have.
Right.
I read so many local stories out of Connecticut and read and watch so many local newscasts. And I cannot believe that they're using copy right out of press releases from government officials. Which is shocking.
Pathetic.
Which includes, I'm sure, that this Dan Moresi thing. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if he's big potatoes enough for them to really go after him. But if it's a slow news day tomorrow, absolutely, and they're going to go right after whatever the Connecticut Democratic Party gives them.
Of course.
For bullet points. It's that's gonna. Well, it also shows you how afraid of somebody like him they are. because he's got some Turtle Boy aspects about him. He's like
Right.
all the things that got through. They can't say he's Portnoy and he's Jordan Peterson and he's young. Like you got a
Right.
guy there who's a threat, and so if they can, cut him off now, then they're going to do it because they're right.
Right. And like I say, it has nothing to do with like what we perceive to be the political teams of red and blue, right and left, because you look at like Matt Taibbi or Barry Weiss, like all of a sudden they're conservatives. Like the words mean nothing to them. It's purely just people who will stand up to them. That they're going to teach you a lesson and make sure you know that you would better always toe the line, better always parrot the narrative, or you are out. And once you are out of that club, you are fair game for all that stuff, for like legal consequences, financial consequences, all of it. They'll go after you with everything they literally have. I don't know. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Oh, did you eat that? Did you eat that fish?
No. I mean, I've barely been here, but.
Well, do you have to eat tonight?
Yeah, I do.
You gonna have some?
Okay, I'll have some fish.
Delicious. $4.25 for 15 minutes.
Okay, will do. Should we hit the chat?
But you don't want to talk about the fish anymore?
I mean, I think it's great, the fish. I'll eat it. I promise.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
What am I supposed to say? I'll eat the fish, honey, okay?
How much are you going to eat?
4 ounces?
That's not much of that fish.
I'm supposed
you wrap
to
it up tight then in because it's really good. It's expensive too.
Okay. Will do.
Okay.
Maybe the kids will eat some, but probably not. Probably not.
They won't. Don't even bother. Don't cook the whole thing. Okay?
Okay.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey.
Hi, Steve.
Reacting to your segment on Lou Merloni, moving on. Just an observation. There's no way that Lou or Christian Fourier enjoyed working with that woman. She is horrible, so untalented. It's unlistenable. And they both hate her. I guarantee it. And her voice, my God.
Ooh.
I mean, you want to talk about the inspiration for twin beds. Ay, ay, ay.
So,
well, Tom, you worked with that woman.
I worked with Megan before she was Mago Waffles. I worked with Megan Ottolini. So to us, she was just nice in the halls. She was nice. She was kind of new then. She was never salty about stuff that I had asked her to do. Even though I wasn't her boss, but I had the ability to ask her to do stuff, although she had editors. I never saw her really complain. Her personality on the air made for a potentially good third chair because she was kind of a guy's girl. She would talk about bars she'd go to. She loved the Beacon Hill pub. She lived in Cambridge. She'd go to this. And so she was that kind of that cool guy's girl thing.
I feel like there's no bigger like sports radio, like stereotype, morning show stereotype.
I think you're right. You're right about that. Absolutely. That's like hanging with the Barstool guys with half. Although she would have been part of Barstool, she was absolutely cultural.
Was it her who was Tailgate, or was that a different Herald person?
Marissa and Jemmy. That was not her. Although she probably was on that side. I do seem to recall a time, and it was very obvious that they were not down with the Portnoy, Minahan, Callan. That whole thing was not
right.
They made that very clear, I think. And so yeah. On a personal note, I liked her just fine because she was just fine. But yeah, this is to think that she was going to change the show. I mean, I didn't know what they expected her to be. I mean, there just aren't too many. I don't know. First of all, you went from Glenn Ordway to her. You can't. That doesn't make any sense. Glenn Ordway knows exactly what he's doing, and it's not like these are two jocks, Fourier and Maloney, and they're exceptionally smart jocks, and they are in the world, and they're dudes, and it's kind of a dude medium. It is. It's some women can roll with it. There's no doubt about that. I'm not sure I can name one, but some can. But you're not. Like it seemed like the aim was to be a C+ show. That was the aim.
Yeah.
Or else you'd have somebody in there more interesting. But maybe they didn't want to be interesting, and Lou was getting paid too much money, and they thought hopefully they can slide her in. But Fourier is going to be getting paid too much money anytime now too. Oh, I like him. I like everybody on that show. I like him too. There you go. I've covered my ass.
You made everybody happy. You've pleased everyone.
Absolutely.
Ho, ho, ho. I thought I'd clear something up.
Okay,
Santa has
Santa.
never been celibate. And
Yes,
when
he has.
I track down these child traffickers, I always say, you know what you're getting for Christmas? Lead. Ho, 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 ho,
Oh, wow.
ho.
He whacked him. Is that
Ho,
true,
ho,
Alice?
ho. I thought
Wow. Mostly he rescued young women from being sold into prostitution because he was wealthy by giving them a dowry so that they could be married. And so, but that's where the giving gifts without saying who they're from comes from.
And
Is
you can suck the fun out of it all today, Alice.
I mean,
You go hang out with the barefoot guy. All right.
Hi, Alice. I know you're a quite bright, intelligent, insightful woman who knows her man very well,
hi.
which caused me to be a little baffled when you were surprised after you showed Tom that AI chat function that he took to it like a little toy and pretty much distracted him the rest of the podcast. You might as well give him a pizza and a picture of Bloody Marys for that matter.
Ooh.
Anyway, I thought that was quite an engaging, interesting little segment, though. Appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I was aware of this capability, but not the specifics.
Well, I sent Tom several articles about it as part of my show prep, which he did not read or take any interest in or know anything about. So I had to explain it to him on the show. Okay, sorry
about that. My goodness, didn't read.
Not the specifics. So I went in, logged in myself, and messed around a little bit. Of course, it spit back a bunch of the stuff it did with you guys. It said it didn't know what the burn barrel was. It didn't know anything about Chelsea Fire hot sauce. So I was about to give up when I asked it for a romance story between a celebrity couple caught in a gaslighting scandal. So it wrote me a nice little story. That's right, folks. The rumors are true. A well-known celebrity couple, who we will not name to protect their privacy, has been caught engaging in manipulative and insidious behavior known as gaslighting. For those who don't know, gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse in which one person manipulates another person into doubting their own perceptions and reality. It is a cruel and insidious tactic that can have devastating effects on the victim. This behavior is completely unacceptable, and it's time for the perpetrator to be held accountable for their actions. We demand justice for the victim and an end to this toxic cycle of abuse. So I guess you guys actually are in this AI chat.
That is correct. Okay. That's when I was on trying to open up an interesting discussion about motivations in media, and Alice was, surfing the J.C. Penney clearance sale, and then claims to be doing research on Dan Moresi. Oh no, I was looking at Dan Moresi. Thank you. Listen to my talking about that tonight, Alice, and you could respond to it. And leave your response in the chat.
Okay, I will. Speaking of which, it's not just the chat, but it is the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline chat, which is the sponsor of the call-in function. Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. It is a wickedly flavorful blend of habanero and ghost peppers. So you have both the flavor and the heat in one 5-ounce bottle. You also have it approved if you are on Awaken 180 weight loss. They use sea salt for reduced sodium, and they have no preservatives. You can find that at Whole Foods, Market Basket, Big Y, Stop and Shop, online at Walmart Marketplace, Amazon, or at chelseafirehotsauce.com.
chelseafirehotsauce.com. Plus 5% goes to charity for fallen firefighters.
Yes, 5% goes to, let me pull it back up here, 5% of all the sales proceeds go to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, helping families and coworkers of fallen firefighters.
I feel like I've gained two new friends through this podcast, Steve and Merrimack and Danny and Bill Ricca, but maybe I'm reading way too much into it. But I have started making the friendship bracelets.
So that's interesting. That is Justin now duplicating.
Stephen Merrimack did seem to know a lot about Justin's calls. I think he's listened to those pretty closely.
But yeah, that is Justin now duplicating messages of his that were not played and replanting them so they will get played, which I do more than somewhat respect.
Alice, do you have any concerns over Tom's recent criminal revelations? What? Not paying bar tabs?
No, that's from like that's
It's
Doing
past the
privilege,
statute of limitations.
hotels and work? I don't know. Shady character.
He is a shady character, although I did know this.
that's correct. I am a petty thief. I do not steal directly from people. I steal from faceless organizations, mean, malevolent organizations, and the government, state government mostly, and the state right above me right now. As a matter of fact, and I intend to keep that going forever. You know what?
Okay.
Do your worst, right?
Right.
So that girl I was talking to on Bumble, turns out that she was what her age she said she was, but she was trying to shake me down for $10K.
Oh.
So
Pay it.
I grew uninterested, to say the least.
If she's attractive, then give her the money, right, Alice?
No.
Steve from Merrimack.
Hey.
I forgot to address one thing that Alice said in a previous episode,
Mhm.
which was that in her mind now, I'm the good-looking guy from Karate
That's right.
that Tom has a non-sexual crush on. Let me just
Sorry
put it
about
this way.
that.
If the really good-looking guy from Karate is London, then I'm Tokyo. I am as far from the good-looking guy at Karate as you could possibly be. But thanks.
Yeah, no, the good-looking guy from Karate was all big teeth and good looks. He was like, "Hey, nice to see you, Tom." He was a guy. He knew he was handsome, and he knew that I knew he was handsome. It was made very clear to me. So, what is it that you're doing now?
I'm just looking at the chat,
You're
but no one's saying anything.
You're looking at the chat.
Yes.
Do you think that is the best use of?
What do you want me to do?
Well, I don't know. You respond to the phone calls, and
I did. I responded to the phone call. I said I'm just still going to picture him that way. That's all.
and you said, and then I responded, and then you said you're looking.
And you said the guy from Karate was all a big smile at you and was like, "Hey, Tom." So I don't know. What am I supposed to say
You know
to
what?
that, Tom?
Don't
Explain it
overengage.
to
Don't
me.
overengage in this show. You wouldn't want people to feel like you're totally committed in this.
That's not true.
All right. Well, that's it. So I'm gonna spend tonight like I did last night. You know what I did last night?
You drank and then you put on your CPAP and went to bed?
Yeah, that's a complete assessment of what I did last night. Else.
What else did you do?
You don't know what I did last night?
That's all I know about, but I was doing other stuff with our kids. What else did you do?
Is there something that you want to talk about? Alice?
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Well, I worked with a company called Acast to make sure that our sponsorships were present but not aggravating to listeners. So for tomorrow, Alice, we'll do a show where you're invested in it too.
That's rude to say. I brought stuff to this show and talked about things on this show.
You're on video now.
Just because I'm not making eye contact with you?
I think. I don't know. I just feel, guys, tell me, was she invested tonight or not? Maybe it's all me. Actually, I've been trying to close this video camera, and I can't close it. It only makes it small and somewhere else. So because I don't like. I've been seeing me, and I've been worried about my lighting while I've been monologuing.
Do you want to play the music?
Okay. Hold on. Oh, something happened. There we go. Right there.
Thank you so much, as always, for listening. We appreciate you so much, Patreon listeners. As Tom mentioned, on the Patreon, you can also now find the most recent episodes available without ads in them. If you would like to listen that way, you can also always find us for free at burnbarrelpodcast.com. Although that version has ads, it's available on all your podcast apps, on YouTube, on Rumble, and you can leave messages for the chat there as well. The Chelsea Fire Wicked hotline chat, and you can email us burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com.